Welcome back to the Ranagade Show, powered by Shine and Jam, brought to you with a live audience from underneath the Hollywood sign. I'm your host, Ranagade PerRana, and this is my forever sidekick for life, my partner in life, my brother,
Actual
America,
brother.
actual brother, blood, same mom, same
America,
dad.
how you doing?
Breasties, for the resties.
So,
Welcome. We love that y'all are here. What episode are we on?
we're on 11, I believe.
Ooh, wee. That's
So-
good.
So, episode 11,
Yeah.
we've been getting a lot of audience feedback on stuff that we've already been doing.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that's been blowing up that people are really interested in is your take on Andrew Tate and the whole alpha male situation. And just kind of like another thing that we talked about that I thought was really related to that was we talked about like women in the hip hop industry and like how you feel like they're not doing their own thing. Someone's kind of telling them what to do.
Uh-huh.
So what I wanted to ask you was, this situation that we're in, is it, because this is my opinion, I think women have a lot more power in this situation than they realize.
For sure.
And I feel like if every woman all around the world decided today that we all have to give a woman a yellow sock in order to, like, get with her on any level, to talk to her, then all of a sudden, yellow socks would become like the highest priced commodity of sock in the world. Yellow yarn would run out. Men would learn how to stitch. I'm just saying, like, women hold a lot more power in these situations
Okay.
than you realize. And I think part of the problem is that there's not like an assertion of power going on with women. What do you think about that?
Well, okay, you're talking about oppression across the board. The oppressed have more power. The people always have more power than the people in power. Like, what's that thing? Like, we're holding you, you're at the end of the plank, and the people are holding the wood for you to stand on. If we move, you're out. You're falling into the water. We hold you up. So anytime, like, if you look at powers that be all over the world. Don't need to get into details. Close your eyes and imagine who the fuck I'm talking about. All the powers that be know good and well where they get their sauce from, where they get their swag from, where they get their resources from. Look at all the nations in the world that are the poorest countries in the world. They have more resources than every other country. The Republic of Congo on its own carries like all the world on its back. Haiti can carry the whole world on its back. Afghanistan can carry the world on its back. Iran can carry the world on its back. These countries that are like messed up because the powers that be don't want them to thrive and shine, just go rob them and take from them. So I think, do you have more power? Yeah, but you have more kindness. That's the problem. So in order to be taken advantage of and oppressed, you have to be more powerful, but you also have to be kinder. Like, the woman doesn't possess the capacity to be negligent when it comes to life. So I use the analogy of if you go to a farmer's market and you buy a strawberry. You just bought that strawberry. So when you look at them, you have all these opinions on them. You go, oh, that one's redder, this one's juicier, this one's this, or that. When you're actually the farmer who grew that strawberry, every single one of them is precious to you. Women make life. Women hold on to life for those whole 9-10 months that they're pregnant with that baby, right? So mothers naturally have they have a bigger appreciation for life because they understand what it takes to make that life. Man just sees life made. Like, thanks for the strawberry. Was it this enough? Was it sweet enough? Was it this enough? Was it that enough? Where the woman grew the strawberry, so every strawberry is precious to her, right? So we don't have that same, let's say, ruthlessness for the most part that men do. Now, women are go-hards, like in most of the animal kingdom, the females are like the super crazy ones. Like lionesses are the ones hunting. Like female pit bulls are the ones that go hard. Mama bear, like the whole concept of all these things. These are females that go hard, right? So women go hard for their loved ones, but women don't have it in them to hurt somebody for no reason. That's why it's always a woman scorned. It's mama bear. It's never like, this bitch is crazy. Why? Well, you made her crazy. Like if she wild out on you, you probably either try to take her children, you try to do something that made her now lose her cool, right? Where men, I think because of that whole farmer versus the consumer analogy now, it's easier for man to say, we're going to war. Send 1 million men to war. Send them. Like right now, I just heard a couple of statistics about what's going on over there in like Ukraine. I think like 150,000 Russian soldiers have already lost their lives. Like, what the fuck is going on, bro? What is happening? What, end wars. What, like, lives should not be lost like that. That is awful. And if you had women who are more powerful in a position to be able to then say that, women would say, no, all these bodies are precious. Every single one of these bodies is precious, and we must hold these precious bodies close to us because life is fragile. Men look at life like the strawberry at the grocery store. You're just looking at a bunch of fucking strawberries and you go, oh, this one looks nicer. Let me take these home. Versus the other one, right? So, I don't know. I think that's where it gets, the power struggle is, are women more powerful? Yes. Are the oppressed more powerful? Yeah, for sure. They got the sauce. They got the thing they're coming to get. You're the one getting robbed. You have the jewels. You have this stuff, right? Go ahead. Do you want to give her the mic really quick? I think yes, please.
A weird question for the audience.
Do you think that women let men think they're powerful? Because, you know, there's that analogy like men are the head, but women are the neck. We control the head. So it's like
I think that's part of the
submissive.
I think that's part. No, I do think you're hitting something. I think that's part of the kindness power dynamic. Like the Native Americans were teaching their invaders and ultimately their murderers how to survive. They taught them how to live because, once again, the powerful, the truly powerful, come with true kindness, and they come with true inclusivity, right? So when you think about right now, there's a lot of people that are like, if you gave these people that are oppressed all this power, would they kill us? No, because we don't got that in us. I'm not going to kick a baby in the face. I'm not feeding children to alligators, bro.
But isn't
I don't even know what's wrong with you that was like, we don't, like, the oppressed don't get down like that. That's how you end up oppressed. So I do think your mother is willing to take a bunch of shit so her kids do feel powerful. So her man doesn't feel like the weak person the world makes him feel like he is. So when you see your man being beaten up by the entire world, a lot of women let him feel like a man at home, whatever that means, right? Which is also sick. But I do think, I think kindness ultimately is your downfall, right? Take your kindness for weakness. Ultimately, it will be your weakness because you don't want to hurt somebody, but you
so how
can't
do you balance
stop
that? How do you balance the difference between maintaining kindness and recognizing weakness?
Well, I think that's the duality of the world. I think there's night and day. I don't think you can get rid of that. I think that's just where we're at. I think time tells what happens. I think maybe there was a time where women ruled the world, or maybe there will be another time that comes that women rule the world. But I think right now, on a macro level, I think it's bigger than just these small wars, right? There's big wars actually happening too. So I think it's a across the board thing. I don't know if it's necessarily like you can find. The two wings of the bird have to both flap in order for the wings to allow the bird to soar. Like, we're not soaring. We're just kind of like running in circles. Like army ants. They are blind. Army ants are blind. They march till their deaths. They're loyal, right? But when put off route, if they ever somehow through whatever may happen find themselves going in a circle, they literally can't stop because they're blind. So they walk until they die. So sometimes your loyalty and your kindness is going to make you walk yourself to death. So yes, you're meant to march to your death for something, though. Don't just follow the leader.
So how do you decide what the something is, and how do you know when you're on the wrong path?
I mean, I think that's where then like masculinity that's beautiful and divine can turn into like toxic, but the same way feminine can turn into toxic. So I think truly you do need equality. Like I think in my own household, I think there's a really beautiful balance of equality. I think like our dad's very powerful and super like macho man, and my mom's like very feminine, but they both let each other thrive and rock and be
right.
He's not oppressing her, she's not oppressing him. Everyone's allowed to be a human, because I think ultimately you're a human. Yes, you're a woman. We're women. Yes, we're women all day, but we're ultimately just human beings. And I think then women do play that role of, but I think that's like the big man syndrome, right? Like because you're more powerful. Once again, tie it back in, because you are more powerful. Like I'm 5'1" and got little man syndrome. He's 6'3" and doesn't do that. All day and he be chilling, but he'll really knock your block off. The real powerful person is cool sitting back letting you rah-rah because you're not finna do nothing anyway. But then you will because you got weapons and you'll kill us all, and you actually have been. But fine, we're not even actually talking about that. But in reality, women do allow men to sit in their power because that's just what you do, the same way a good man lets a woman sit in her power.
Well, and I think something related to, you know, the size thing and what you're saying about men and women is like mom always used to say, big dogs don't bark, you know, like you don't have to. You don't have to make a lot of noise if you understand your power in the situation. And I feel like people who, and this is kind of like that parking thing that we talked about. That was like one of the original episodes, is that people have these petty power grabs. People want to assume power in a situation, especially when they feel powerless. And I think like toxic femininity, like you said, like women don't do crazy things unless they're hurt. And I feel like that hurt, that woman scorn thing is part of that whole like powerless situation. When you're in a situation when you don't have
Backed
a lot
up
of
in a
power,
corner.
yeah, you have only one way out. And the
For
way
sure.
that you take out is any way out.
Yeah, like that young lady that ended up unaliving her pimp recently. It was a story that went really big. I think like the Kardashians even got involved in like trying to figure it. It was a whole thing. Yeah, this is, you know. Absolutely. So I think you do need to stand up for yourself and you do need to kind of like try to balance that power thing. But I think there's so many levels to it that you can't necessarily jump in and say it, because also then like all the sects of the world are telling you that this is the structure too. So when
her name is Sarah Cruzen.
Okay.
That's the woman.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna stumble through this. Could it be that there is equality right now, but we're just not appreciating what
That looks
a woman
like
does and what a man does, because our appreciation levels and what we're interested in these current times are not what maybe a woman. Let's say everybody wants to be a CEO of something or a boss or run something, but maybe just because of naturally testosterone and estrogen and the way a man and a woman are created, their focus and their strength is geared towards something different. And some of what we're interested in these days today might be more masculine driven, appreciated agendas or roles. And as a result, maybe men just naturally are or have been doing that role, and now, but the women's roles are not being appreciated, like being a mother, a stay-at-home wife, or taking care of the houses, even, you know, a single mom. You know, it's just not recognized on the same level as a man. So maybe it's like it might not ever be equal or recognized.
Okay.
A lot to unpack there.
A lot to unpack there. I'd like to say you're right on a couple things, but like you're misled on a couple things.
Not being right or
No,
wrong,
hold on.
it's just
Wait.
an idea.
I'm not even, don't take this as an attack. You just happen to be the one who have said this. I'm not attacking you. I promise you I'm not attacking you. There's twofold to what you're saying. Is the roles traditionally carved out for women unappreciated? Fuck yes. Let a man stay home all day. He'll be like, yo, take these kids, bro. I need a nap, right? Like women don't get no type of breaks. And the man who goes to work all day doing man work also is not appreciated. That's real work. Like all that going to the job and sitting there in those offices, that's real work too. All of it is work. Everyone's doing whatever work with their, fine, valid. The problem here is we've decided the masculine roles are the ones that are business and money and getting the bag and doing all that shit, which is bullshit, because that's not what it is. The problem is the businesses that were started 100 years ago, whatever, or during like the Industrial Revolution, women weren't allowed to go outside, bro. Like women weren't allowed to like even flex their muscle on you to show you that they got it, which is why that one chick was like, we can do it, blah. Because, bro, I got muscle too. I could pick up that chair as well. So there's also this whole thing where now, like, you know a lot of women. We all know a lot of women. Not all girls is dainty, bro. I know some brolic bitches. I know some girls that'll knock you out. And I know some guys that are not tough dudes, bro. Like, none of, like, your gender or whatever your procreating side of procreation is, let's say, however that whole thing works out. None of that is valid on, like, what then you're meant to be doing with your time. Like, even the whole thing of, like, barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Most chefs of the world are men, so fuck is you talking about? They're not bitches. Gordon Ramsay is a man, bruh. Go to any restaurant across America. Most top chefs across America are men. So you're wrong. You're wrong. Most hairstylists that cut the women's hair and slay that shit are men. Furthermore, there is women who are popping ass CEOs because they understand the market. So none of that has anything to do with male or women. I think it's, or man or woman. I think that's more or less like stereotypically, sure. But we live in a world now where everything is kind of shifting for the right and the wrong reasons, right? But so for you to say that the things that women are trying to do now are more masculine things is due to the fact that that's all you ever seen is men playing these roles. Yeah. Men are also the ones, yeah. When women picked, yeah, the first time a woman smoked a cigarette on camera, that shit blew people's minds. The first time a chick put on pants, motherfuckers were like, this bitch. First time a bitch popped off a gun, somebody was like, who the fuck? But like, girls are snipers too. Girls will fuck you up. And the same way men won't protect you, bro. Not every guy is like some beefy, brolicky dude who's ready to like be alpha male-y for you. That's all lies and cap. I'm hella more brolic than most of the boys I know. And that's just because I act a certain way. Because I'm really like...
Well, and I think to kind of get
like,
back to the point
but
of
I'm
like...
all the way a girl. I'm totally a woman and...
Yeah.
But out of the two of us, you cook. I don't cook.
Sure.
I'm a professional blunt roller. He's not. What are we doing here? But... No, go ahead.
What if you were to focus on what females tend to do better? And
well, see, this is
the
part.
It's not in the forefront.
Well, this is the part of your answer that
I'm
I
wondering if like guys would be interested in doing what they're doing, and like I'm wondering. I think men and women are equal. It's just they have different ways of going about things. Like you said, a woman is not gonna kick a baby in the head or like want us to go to war. They're gonna be like end wars. I think that goes back to just women having more of a maternal instinct in them, you know, more loving, more nurturing, like you had said.
Yeah, because y'all are confused.
It's their strong point.
What were you going to say?
Well, what I was going to say is about the whole thing about industry. It's like, if you look back 100 years ago when the businesses were starting the Industrial Revolution, it was about men who had connections, men who went to universities, men who joined fraternities, Skull and Bones, all that type of stuff. They joined those fraternities. That's what was important for a CEO of a business back then, those connections. Now what's important for CEOs, do you have attention to detail? Like you said, can you pay attention to the market? These are not masculine or feminine traits. These are intelligence traits. And
also,
I think,
now it's just a market thing. So if you're some lady who like just has a good business and you end up on Shark Tank and your business is good and you just got a good ass fucking idea, you can also be invested in. I don't think it's that sort of thing. I think the problem is you're considering your inability to be part of life as a woman's crutch or a disability. You aren't tapped into life, bro. We're all here. Everything is living. Men kind of forgot somewhere in the world that like every single thing is a fragile life, including themselves, which is why then it flips and goes, what, you don't think men need a hug? Yeah, bro, I've been telling you need a hug this whole time. You just finally are like, you guys don't realize we have emotions too. Yes, the fuck we do. We've been trying to tell you also need a hug. You're also sad. Also, this whole thing of like, everything is really backwards, right? So I was recently, and this is so you don't think, I'm not on one side of this thing here. This isn't like, women, rah, rah. It's like, no, everybody get it together. Women got to get it the fuck together and men got to get it the fuck together.
Yeah.
But recently I was talking about, we were actually discussing this, I've discussed this with all sorts of my, okay. So do you remember when Aisha Curry came out and was like, people don't holler at me. Don't nobody, da, 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 da. Okay. You remember that?
Yeah.
She was like, do you remember that? Okay. I say that to say, women typically, stereotypically, are known as the ones who are pushing and pumping monogamy. Women are the ones that want monogamy and they want monogamy, and men are the ones that are like, I want all the bitches. That's what you think, right? But in reality, when a woman has on a wedding ring, men respect the fact that that's someone's woman, and they don't fucking try to holler at her. She can literally safely walk around knowing that Steph Curry's her man and men respect Steph Curry. But when Steph Curry goes outside with his wedding ring on, all the bitches don't respect Aisha Curry and they all try to get with him. Not all the bitches, 90%.
Yeah, I saw some recent study that confirmed that.
So it's funny to me that women hollered this monogamy shit, but are the first ones to violate it and not respect another woman. And men holler all this polygamy shit, but y'all not doing that. Y'all really do respect the concept of that's his girl, this is so-and-so's girl, this is so-and-so's such and such. So we're just not talking about what's actually going on. It's easy to say men are this way, women are this way. Also, women gossip. No, they don't. Most of the girls I know do not tell other girls who they've dated or who they've been with. But all of my homies come and tell me all day business. And tell all they homies all day business. Motherfucker, men be on the phone with each other talking all the gossip. Yo, this bitch, let me show you this again, screenshot. The boys are the ones in the group chats actually doing this. Like, girls I know are hella, like, kind of secretive and, like, don't want to tell anybody. Also, girls are scared. If I tell you about this guy, your sick ass is probably going to go try to get with my man. Well, the girls, you know what I mean? The people I know, I'm not talking, these aren't personal things. But, you know, you don't want to advertise for your boyfriend. Well, why is it an advertising? Well, guys don't think they're advertising their girl. They're literally just telling you what happened.
So the University of St. Andrews published a study that said that women who were rating men on a scale of 1 to 100, when they found out that these men were taken, and they were told that these men were taken or they're married, the men had a higher attractive score on average
For sure,
from the
because you're a
49
bum.
women.
Because you're a bum until a girl decides you're not.
Yeah, they're vetting the
You're
men
a
basically,
bum.
right?
No, I'm telling. And listen, wars happen because men want to impress girls. Men buy cars because they want to impress girls. At the end of the day, like this goes back to that whole original thing. Women do hold more power, but also like this is the same concept of like it's ghetto until it's on the runway. They watching, bro. They're just putting you down because we know who's really running shit around here. Don't like. The oppressed typically are the ones setting the tone and setting the standard of what happens here. But you have the girls who now validate the man's ability to now be a man. Oh, well, you're auditioning to be a man until some girl validates your resume of being a man. And then the badder your girl is or the more successful your girl is, I always now, when I was younger, you know, I would always tell people, you got your man all the fucking pussy he just got from all those girls. Those girls got with your man because they can't beat you. The chick can't outdo you. She can't outshine you. She can't outbusiness you. She can't out personality you. She can't outdress you. She can't out get money you. She can't do whatever with you. But guess what? Your weak ass boyfriend will let her, you know what I'm saying? Bet. So now she got you. So most of the time, the whole game with women is like, that's what I'm saying, like women need to tighten up also. So this isn't like, you're crazy to think that the woman's role is to play. It's also your role. Those are your kids too. It's not her role to keep the house tidy. It's also yours. Your kid's hungry, fucking feed the kid. You don't know how to make food? You're a whole ass man. You know how to cook? Every guy I'm looking at right now knows how to cook, and I know that for a fact. Every boy that's sitting in here, every man sitting in here right now, I know knows how to make himself a meal because their mothers taught them how to survive. Making a meal you're not a bitch because you know how to cook, bro. You're almost a bitch if you don't know how to cook because you don't know how to fend for yourself. You don't know how to make yourself a basic fucking meal. Also for the girls, you don't know how to parallel park, but you drive? Get it together. You can't survive, bro. Get it together. Like everybody needs to step their skills up. So teach me what you know, and I'm going to show you what you need to know.
So we have another question?
Come on.
Okay, I want to kind of switch to hip hop. I've always wanted to know people's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So men always talk about like the Cardi B's, the Nicki Minaj's, how when they come out, you were saying people write for them. Don't you think that they have to do that first
Yes.
to get attention? Then you see all these women just switch gears after they get out 2-3 albums of what people want to hear. Like, my ass is out, I'm doing this, I'm popping, I got the dancers in my videos, like all this. They have to do that to get attention. Now they can start doing their own thing.
No.
Other like men,
I don't
they
think
could
so.
just, they get the attention.
I think it's a male-run industry. I don't think that, like, do the girls have to do that to get put on? 100%. Because it's a male-dominated world. It's sex sells. The boys don't want to hear you talking, none of that, whatever shit. Like, I've literally played my music for guys that, like, jokingly, I won't even say the person's name. One of the old heads, really powerful person, whatever. I played my music. He was like, you ain't talking about shaking no ass. I was like, no. He was like, don't nobody want to hear no girl talking no revolutionary bullshit. He was like, he literally was like, get that KRS-One shit out of here. I was like, oh my God. Okay. So if you're not P-popping up the charts, the boys don't care because the boys are like, listen, you have nothing to say. But here's the problem. Every time one of the girls opened up their mouths, they said some bullshit besides a few of the girls. There was only a few girls that really like, and that's why like Tupac is powerful. Because if you're gonna grab the mic as an oppressed person, you have to ride for your oppressed people. So the second now you allow the oppressor, the pimp or whomever it is, tell you what to say or what to do, you're a bitch, bro. You're the problem. So it's not Nicki, it's not Cardi, it's not Meg, it's not Little Kim, it's not any of this shit. It's the heads that write this shit. It's not the city girls. Lil Yachty's writing that bullshit for them. Like, it's not them. Like, it's these boys that want to hear you say that bullshit because that's all they want to hear come out of your little mouth. So it's the equivalent of just get up there and dance. Don't do nothing else. Tap dance. Say what I need you to say and don't say nothing else. Say nothing. Oh, you're a lot cuter when you don't speak. Why don't you smile more? The fuck am I smiling for? Why don't you smile more? I fucking haven't seen you smile the whole time we've been here. The fuck? What are we smiling about?
So going back to like that whole yellow sock thing, do you think women don't actually hold any power in this situation? Do you think like I'm wrong in that premise? Because
I think until people have ownership of the platforms, there is nothing going on here.
Right.
And then the person who takes ownership of said platform also has to give a fuck.
True,
Like BET
right.
got bought by people that don't necessarily ride for the culture.
Right.
Oh, and I heard today apparently Shaq, somebody else, and 50 Cent and Kenyon Barris are trying to buy BET, and I hope to God that they do because you need proper ownership in particular platforms in order for certain things to happen, which is why, like, when, I don't know, like Oprah has the OWN network, all of a sudden these women, female journalists now have a place to go and kind of do those things. When you have, like, this is why we champion, like, black coaches or black owners of sports teams and things like that, because the whole shit is riding off the back of this. Why don't you let somebody from said group now come and rock their shit? So, you know, our women, you can't, like, you're playing on a particular board. Like, you're playing Monopoly. So until we set up chutes and ladders or until we set up chess, you can't be mad at, like, the fact that you're playing with a little fucking top hat.
yeah.
Like, this is the stupid game we're playing right now.
Yeah.
So we're just playing this stupid-ass game. Like, I've been rapping for far too long, but nobody wants to hear some revolutionary raps. So cool. Guess where I'm not going? I'm not popping up no charts no time soon. And I guess I have to be okay with that. I hope to God someone out there goes, nah, bruh, I want that same spirit of somebody who really cares about what they're saying. I want that in my ear. Some people then don't want that in their ear. So that's fine. Like, I listen to all sorts of shit too. So it's not.
So do you think, like, when you're talking about black coaches, black owners, women owning businesses, I think that's the type of representation that matters, because I think there's token representation. People get
For
figureheads,
sure.
and people are like, oh, Obama was president, racism is fixed. And it's like, listen, that is a historic breakthrough, but until, like, some of the industry, like you said, until some platforms are more democratically owned, more equitable, until more people have access to them.
Change. We're still riding for Emmett Till. Don't play with me. Stop.
Yeah, and that woman
To
still,
this day,
you know, like she
till
just died,
this
right?
day, nothing. None of these pacifiers will pacify anything. None of these pacifiers will pacify anything. Nothing is like, we're all like, it's still on. It's still on. It's still on. Don't think I'm gonna get on the mic and be like, do you think I'm sexy? Do you think I'm hot? What? Huh?
So what do you think about women who do that? Do you think they're undervaluing themselves?
No, I think they are mentally enslaved. I think you are.
What about when they say they're liberated? What
That's
about
fine.
when they say
It's
they're sexually liberated?
Pimping been going on for a long time. If prostitution's the oldest industry, so is pimping. Okay? So, and I don't think it is. That also a pimp made up that line. Pimps make up all types of player ass shit that motherfuckers then say later on and don't realize that a pimp literally just convinced you to say. I hate when girls are like, happy hoes ain't hating and hating hoes ain't happy. What pimp taught you that? What? If it's a bad situation and it's not good, you're allowed to not be okay. Like when girls cry over shit, you're supposed to be crying. Like when my homies be upset and they be crying, they're like, oh no, why I'm crying. You're supposed to be crying.
Right.
This hurt you.
Right.
That's your gauge of this isn't okay. If you're upset, like if somebody makes you upset, that shows you what isn't okay for you. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with that, you know? You ready? you grabbed the mic like you had
Boss
something
has
to
a
say.
question.
All right, so it's apparently May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Beautiful.
So I just have like a pretty broad question. So, do you feel people are less inclined to speak on how they feel / depression to their partners out of fear of looking weak?
Can I take this one? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we were talking earlier about men needing hugs. Mm-hmm. I feel like I have a lot of connection to my emotion, and I think sometimes, I played football. I did a lot of things that are like masculine, right?
Sure.
So I feel like less worried about that in some ways. I'm a big guy. I have things that mitigate that sort of I connect to my emotional state, and I feel like mental health, especially when you're asking that question, men feel really weak when they talk about their emotions, and like you can talk about your emotions, but you can't ever recognize that they hurt you, right? You always have to sort of assert themselves. And like when we're talking about like that whole alpha male thing, it's like emotions don't get to you. You are so stoic. You're so beyond emotions. You're robotic in some ways. And it's so unhealthy. Like I think a lot of the things that we deal with in society are because people can't heal themselves. People don't want to take that step. And I think men, especially when it comes to mental health, I think you look at these school shooters, they're predominantly men. These mass shooters are predominantly men. And I don't think it's...
They're all.
They're pretty much all men, yes. They're pretty much all men. And I think, like what you said, I think a lot of these kids just need hugs. I know it sounds simplistic, and listen, gun violence is its own thing. There's too many guns. Talking about all of that, like that's a whole different conversation. But I think people just need hugs. I think we need to be a more kind society. And I think that's because of toxic masculinity that we don't have that kindness.
I agree. But I want to add to that. The delicate space of being able to say, I'm not okay, belongs to privileged people. Okay? It is a privilege to say, I can't take it anymore. People of the world can't say that. Foreigners can't say that. Women, colored women of the world can't say that. Okay? You can't. It's a privilege to say, you know what, I'm feeling weak. Because we live in a dog-eat-dog-ass world where if you can't, in this poverty that we're all in, the next man next to you will, and then his family will eat and you won't. Yours won't. So why can't you be weak? Because the world doesn't allow you to be weak. So that doesn't mean that mental health isn't important, but that also means that if you are the type of person who wakes up and works through your shit, you're okay too, because that's how the world works. So is it alpha to be emotionless? No, that's not. I don't think that's what that means. I think it's alpha to say I'm staying on the roller coaster and I know how to handle the ups and the downs. So some people get on the roller coaster and every time they go up and down, they go, woo, yeah! And they scream the whole ride because it's so fun. And some people really, you ever seen that video of the guy who just sits there, no facial expressions? That's how, some people ride through life like that because they can handle the ups and the downs and all of those things. So mental health, super important. If you feel like I can't, cool, sit down, please, breathe, call somebody, write in your journal, exercise, have a glass of water, meditate, whatever those things are to kind of get out of your moment to where then you can't rest, take a nap. There's so many ways to just kind of clock out for a second, bro. It's totally cool. If you can't, that's beautiful. But realize if you can't, you're living in privilege to be able to say you can't, because the world, the whole world, including parents and grandparents, you ever seen older people working? Some older people work because they genuinely don't want to be at home bored, but some older people are working because they still have to feed their grandbabies because maybe their kids didn't do everything they were supposed to do. You know how many friends I have of mine whose parents are raising one of their kids as kids in their 60s, 70s, 80s, still having to get a second job and a third job to bring in extra income? So it's not that you don't deserve a break. Everyone deserves a break, but I think ultimately the whole world is full of people that are not Kit Kats and aren't going to get breaks. If you get a break, good, that's really good. You deserve a break. You should get one. I take breaks whenever I think I need one, but I live in that same state where everyone I know is looking at me. And if when my dog passed away 2 years ago, I was broken. Like I've held a lot of people's hands as they transitioned. But when my dog passed, it was like my own child. So I really was broken. And I remember a lot of my friends, God bless you guys, I'm not calling you out, but a lot of my friends were like, bro, I don't know what to say to you. You are the strongest person I know. And I can't even see you like this, right? So that's real too. Like, so why doesn't your dad cry? It's not because he doesn't want to, but he knows that if he starts crying, what reason do you have to stop? If he breaks, what the fuck's gonna keep you together? If your mom breaks, what's gonna keep you together? If I break, what keeps my people together? Right? So it's not don't have the emotions, it's don't let the emotions have you. Like how they say, like, wear the clothes, don't let the clothes wear you. Wear the emotions, don't let the emotions wear you. So it's not don't cry, cry. Real men cry, bro. You don't think men cry on the battlefield? You don't think tears are shed in those trenches? Real fucking manly ass tears? Bro, when I cry, I literally all the time, I'm like, these are my Allen Iverson tears. These are Michael Jordan championship in the thing. Like these are soldier tears, bro. So like mental health, super important. Men do need a hug, women need a hug, but ultimately, like, if you're not getting a hug, it's okay too. You're a champion. You're the champion.
Well, just going back to what
And
you
your
were saying
story is
about,
important because you need to be that story that people can see and go, damn, you're surviving without none of that affection. You're surviving without none of that. You have purpose and you have reason and you wake up every morning and no one's coddling you and babying you and holding you and asking you if you're okay. That's a championship story. That's a true champion story. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I was going to say, going back to privilege and mental health, 24.6% of Black people in America are reported to have depression, 19.6% of Hispanics, and 34.7% of white people. But it's saying that in Black and Hispanics, the depression is more likely to be persistent. It's more likely to result in incarceration. And I think, like...
Yeah, because it's not acknowledged.
So, like, I guess going back to what you're saying, you know, people are champions. People feel like, you know, they're on the battlefield. They have to go through what they're going through. Like, as an immigrant, I feel like mental health to me is something that I know about and I try to understand, but like seeking it out seems
Mad pussy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's kind of that. It's like
It does.
It feels like it's sort of beneath me. But then you're talking about people who have depression and suicide, and you know, suicide is a thing that affects men a lot more than it affects women. The suicide rates are way higher among men, and it's like, how do you bridge the gap between you need help and you refuse help? How do you, like, as someone who needs mental health, how do you get that across the line? Because, yeah, these men need hugs. These men are told that it's okay to cry. But society tells you, as a man,
don't do it.
Don't cry. Don't you ever
Yeah.
cry. I mean,
Okay.
listen, I saw my dad cry, but when I was in public, I was told, don't cry. Don't you be crying. There's no point in you crying as a man.
Okay, yeah, we saw Dad cry 3 times.
Well,
One of
yeah.
the times
Well,
was when
I'm
you
just-
almost got kidnapped. The second time was when his mother passed, and then when his father passed. And when Muja passed. Since then, we haven't seen the man shed a single tear. So, yes, there is that.
All right, well, I'm even saying that answer
Yeah,
is
yeah.
toxic
Yeah.
masculinity. So,
Well, okay, I guess we're all products of that. But hold on, this is what I was going to say. So you mentioned, you said, what were you just saying? Oh, the percentages. So why don't people go and seek the therapy? Because when you are ever seeing a doctor, you've now convinced yourself there's something wrong with you. When in reality, if you, like, okay, let me compare it to something else. If you were to kind of catch a cold, some people I know I have some friends of mine that would run to the doctor immediately and go get their antibiotics. Me, I'm gonna take my oregano oil, I'm gonna take my chlorophyll, I'm gonna take my colloidal silver, I'm gonna do my little,
FDA and approved medication.
yeah, I do my turmeric shot, I do all that shit, and then within 2-3 days, I'm money, dunny, I'm back. Because I know oregano oil is as potent as amoxicillin and all this other stuff. Like, whatever. All right. Personal opinions. I am not a doctor. And I don't play one on this podcast either.
Dr. Ranagade.
But, so, therapy doesn't always mean run to a therapist, right? So, and a lot of people don't have access to a therapist. I know there's apps available now that are a lot less expensive that put you in these networks. So research those things. I've heard about these recently where you can, like, for very little amount, really actually begin to talk to someone. The problem is people don't have anyone to talk to. So a therapist is ultimately a sound-minded, reasonable friend who isn't going to give you bad advice, right? Who's going to
Ideally,
listen to
right,
what you
right.
have to say and give you good, solid opinions on what you're going through to help you work yourself through it, right? So if you can't get to a therapist, get to a friend, get to this podcast, get to call one of your old teachers from school, reach out to somebody you knew from whatever organization you might have been a part of at some point. Reach out to one of your homies, reach out to somebody and talk to somebody, because I think talking, and ultimately us talking through our own things when we get a chance to say our shit out loud to a therapist, I think that in itself is a part of the therapy. To just say it out loud and hear yourself say it, to hear yourself say like, my feelings are hurt. That hurt me. I miss my grandma. I miss my aunt. I miss my whatever. I need a hug. Whatever those things are that you typically can't say because you sound like you think you sound mad pussy or you think you sound weak. You don't. Because you would say those things to your closest friend, right? Like every tough guy I know has their one best homie that they can really dive in with that deep to say those things to. So go ahead.
Okay, so on the other side, what do you do when someone is battling depression close to you, but they won't reach out? Like they go ghost, like, they have this depression going on. It's in and out. It's a pattern.
Yeah.
You know what happens.
Yeah.
But how do you be there for them when they don't communicate and they don't tell you what they need?
For sure. I think people are so fragile, and I think that there's no one way to go about any of this, right? Some people are the types where they put themselves in cocoons because they're caterpillars that are going to become the butterfly. And when someone because I have a lot of friends of mine that isolate themselves, and when they isolate themselves, they feel even more depressed because they're not reaching out to anyone. So in those moments, I kind of just remind them, I'm like, hey, maybe you just put yourself in a protective cocoon so the elements can't get to you, so you can go through your transformation in peace and in solitude. So sometimes we put these blanket statements on things, and then we don't really let people really break down what it is. Like, are you depressed? Sure. But is it because you needed a break to find stillness? And if you flip that coin and say, hey, I'm not, like sometimes I could say I'm tired, or I could say, hey, I'm on low power mode. I'm on low, like, battery save mode. I'm just going to operate I'm chilling today because tomorrow I have to go harder. So if your friend is going through that, I think some of it is maybe let them stay in their cocoon. But then some of it is, like my mom always says, if you want to quit something, like, don't focus on the thing you want to quit. Focus on all the other shit, because then the thing you need to quit will work itself out. Like, I've had friends of mine who want to stop smoking. So it's like, okay, you could focus constantly on saying, I need to quit, I need to quit, I need to quit. But if you keep saying that and then you don't, every time you said it and didn't, you killed your confidence a little bit more. Because now you're seeing yourself as somebody who can't even listen to themselves when they're logically telling themselves to do something. How do you not have discipline over self? Like, whew, that's bad. Where you're better off saying, hey, I'm smoking right now, I'm doing it, but I'm going to do other stuff. So let me get up and run in the mornings. Or let me do something, like let me jump rope, or do something that gets my lungs activated to where then naturally I'm not going to want to smoke as much after, because now your lungs will make you quit. Your lungs will make you quit if you activate the lungs, because your lungs will go, nah, bruh, how you want me to function and you keep smoking? Cut that shit out, and then you'll naturally just start cutting things out.
Well, and the thing I've noticed with depressed friends is instead of hey, you seem down, what's going on? Hey, let's go do something.
Yes.
To your point,
Exactly.
instead of just offering people criticism or awareness, sometimes people just don't want to know all the bad things that they've done, and they just want to do something else.
Different.
Give them an opportunity to live a different life.
Don't be like, hey, you used to be the caterpillar.
I always like to say people deserve the chance to control their own narrative. You're allowed to tell your own story.
For
and
sure.
I feel like a lot of times in your life, someone else is telling your story for you.
Yep.
And
Don't let people tell your story.
And when you create those positive memories with something, memories are super powerful when you're talking about mental health. Memories can help you get out of bad situations. They can help you understand where you're supposed to go in your life, And so I think it's really important to offer people who are depressed good memories. Give them something to do. Give them something
new memories,
fun.
Exactly.
Take them out. Go do something fun with them. Instead of hey, you seem really sad. What's wrong with you? Don't have that conversation. Go out with them, and then somewhere along the way, they're probably going to tell you what's wrong with them, because they're going to feel close to you in that moment.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
Oh no, it was kind of mentioned right there.
Yeah, so I do agree with that. I think you do have to not, like, if you have an injury on one of your limbs, you kind of got to let that heal. But that doesn't mean you don't get the rest of your body together, right? So it's the same way with people that have one dark corner in the room. Like, okay, sometimes it's go sit with that person in their dark corner too. Because sometimes people, when they're in the dark corner, they feel like, oh, I'm the only one that could be here. And then you kind of go sit with them and then they go, oh, okay, it's not that bad. All right, we're together. Now it's not my little dark corner. Now it's our dark corner. Now it's not so dark anymore. Let's turn the light on, or let's do something in this dark corner. There's things we could do here. Also, it's sometimes letting them stay in their corner and not bothering them and protecting others from getting to them too. So sometimes when people retreat, it's not always because you're going through something that like you need to be pulled out of. Sometimes that is where you do need to retreat. When injured, an animal will retreat. When hurt, someone will go sit down. When your feelings are hurt, sometimes it's best to like not say nothing and just go sit the fuck down somewhere.
Well, and I think that's what I'm saying about, like, if you think someone's depressed, don't automatically just tell them that they're depressed. Offer them some chance because, like you said, maybe they're going through a healing situation and they need to be alone. Don't make that assumption. When you make that assumption with someone, what you end up doing is you make them feel paranoid, like they're being perceived a certain way, and that your perception is the universal perception of them. Because whenever you're like, hey, I've noticed lately you've been
You're so down and out.
You've been so down and out.
No.
You're gonna think in that moment that
Like,
every
damn,
single person,
everybody think I'm depressed.
every person thinks
No.
I'm depressed, and it's not fair to them just because that's your perception. I mean, there are situations obviously where everyone knows that they're depressed.
For sure.
But that's not a universal thing. You can't
No.
just make your assumption how someone feels about themselves. You have to offer them a chance to just talk.
And people go through their own life cycles.
Yeah.
So once again, the tree analogy from the other podcast, like this tree right now, it's got fruit on it and everything, right? But like this one already kind of bared its fruit and is on its way out. So this one now isn't thriving next to that one, right? But give it a few months, that one will be bare again and this one will be back.
Everything has its own
Everything
cycle.
has its own cycle. So it's not always about, I think, pressing somebody either. You know, I think we have to have patience with people and we have to show them love. Also, a lot of times people don't have examples of love in their own life. So
You gotta give them examples.
Yeah, so your friend who's sad, I would say just shower them with love. The same way you would if you were trying to like save an animal that was, you know, hiding in like a junkyard or something. You know, that animal might not trust you and not want you around and all these other things, or the person might not want you around, but that living being deserves love and ultimately wants your love, just needs to be proven to it that you're safe, that you're not going to do unpredictable things, that you're not going to say crazy things. Also, right back to your point, people don't want to be called out on the sad stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have friends of mine that are going through shit and then, you know, we talk about it, but then like I'm not supposed to bring it back up 3 days later. Like if me and you had a heart to heart and you told me, I was so sad about, and then I see you and now you're trying to put on a face, I'm not going to be like, how was you still dealing with that? Like, bitch, it's 3 days later. Why are you bringing that back up?
Seriously,
like,
it
was
hurts your feelings. And
absolutely.
It makes you
Don't put that
paranoid
on
about how
me.
people are
Absolutely.
looking at you. Yeah.
Also, I think it's important, too, to let people know that you don't see that on them. I don't see that on you. I don't see your hurt and your pain. Yes, it's real inside of you. The same way, like, you look at some people and, like, some people park in the handicap place and they, you know, you've heard the stories where people are like, you don't look, like, you don't know what the fuck this person's going through. You don't know what, like,
The assumptions
just
are
because
really
you don't
painful.
see
They're
something
very
doesn't mean you
painful,
don't know
yeah.
someone's pain or what they're actually
Yeah.
dealing with on the inside. So it's also important to make sure you let that person, like you said, know that as the beholder of your beauty, bro, you're good. Like, I recognize their pain in there, but I want you to know that when I see you, you're not hitting me with a burden. You're not hitting me with your sadness. Your misery isn't what's here. Your beauty is what's here. Your kindness is what's here. Your friendship is what has arrived. Not that sad shit you got going on, because that's real. We're going to make sure that we know that that's there. But I also want you to know that you are more than that sadness to the world. You are more than that pain to the world. You are more than that moment that you're so sad and distraught over to the world. So when your friend is super duper sad, sometimes I think it's important to not even mention none of that shit. Just be like, hey, I just want you to know I live for you, bruh. Like, you hold me down. You bring me joy. You make me happy. So I know you're going through everything you're going through, and that's fine. I got your back on all that. But I just want you to know I'd be fucked up without you. I need you. You help me out every single day. And sometimes we have to remind each other, like, I love you, Reza. You are really my best fucking friend.
For sure.
For real. Like, you hold me down. You're amazing. I couldn't be prouder to, like, when you walk in the room, just everyone's reaction. I just sit there. I'm like,
I feel the same way, honestly, where it's just like, you know, I see you rolling up at events. I see you in these interviews with Hollywood Life and Black Enterprise and all these things that you're doing and, like, doing this Jimmy John's thing. And I'm just like, this is, like, something you used to do when we were kids. And I'd be like, can you do it blindfolded? Can you do it
I
upside
remember all
down?
that.
Can you do it, like, this way and that way? And all of a sudden, I see the whole world recognizing not just that you do it, but, like, it's an art and that, like, you put so much skill into it. And it's like, sometimes you just have to say it to people. You can't just think it. It's not okay just to think it. You have to tell
you
people
have to
how.
tell people you love them.
You have to tell people how you feel.
You have to look them in their eyes and say thank you. You have to thank your mother, thank your father, thank your brother, thank your sister, thank your best friend for holding you down. I thank my best friends. I swear, me and my people, we shower each other with thank yous and I love yous and appreciations. And, oh, you're so smart. Thank you so much for existing. Like, I'll kill somebody for you. Not literally, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't let nobody hurt you. Mama bear shit. You know, not killer shit. Mama bear shit.
All right. So we've been talking about men, women, and their relationship with each other. And we've been talking about mental health and depression. And now I'm going to provide you a story that's going to give you all types of depression and
Oh my
provide all
God.
types of men and women. Okay. So this is from Reuters. This is from The Hague in the Netherlands. A Dutch court ordered on Friday a man who judges had said fathered between 500 and 600 children around the world to stop donating sperm. So this 41-year-old Dutch man named Jonathan Meyer has been going to sperm banks
Put his
religiously.
Oscar Mayer in every girl.
Every
across
single,
Europe.
yeah. OSCAR. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy, every single woman, and there's a civil court. There's a civil case now in the Netherlands, basically because these children are worried that they're going to commit incest and not know it because they're going to, like, have someone who's, like, you know, their half sibling.
My God.
So what would Ranagade do for this person? He got fined $110,000 or about $100,000, 100,000 euros and it's about $110,000.
I mean, honestly, I think he should be imprisoned in some capacity for at least a little bit of time because I think he definitely took advantage of a situation and a system. And I think he took advantage of a situation that whatever. But then at the same time, I think the clinics that allowed this guy to do this are the ones that really should be in prison.
Everyone goes to jail.
No, maybe
You
not
go to
him.
jail.
Honestly, maybe
Everyone goes to
he
jail.
should just pay child support on all 600 kids.
Go to jail.
But yeah, 600 cases of child support for you. But I think the clinics actually are doing criminal shit because that's like messing up a whole ecosystem.
But it's
Like,
like you
you're
got one
literally-
supply and it's
No,
good. Why would
no,
you
no,
change
it's not, but it's
suppliers?
not, but it's
That's
not,
how
but it's
they're
not, but
looking
it's
at
not.
it.
No.
Why are you changing
Hold on,
suppliers?
Stop. Chill out. These are not regular fucking suppliers. You're talking about generations. You're talking about actual human beings.
Oh, I
So
know,
you
I
should
know.
have some sort of like integrity or like, you know, oath that you've taken, some medical oath that says like, I will not make a bunch of, because honestly too, there's research done on when there is close familial children being had, they have lots and lots of complications. It's not
So
okay.
apparently, he was banned from Dutch fertility clinics in 2017 when he had already fathered over 100 children. And what he had done is he's the 4
Oh
to
no,
5.
he's going to jail. If he was already banned and then he went back and dropped off 400 more kids, oh no.
So he went to Denmark, and there's a sperm bank called Syros there, where they donate the sperm internationally. So he's got 500 international kids along with 100 Dutch kids.
See, he's a criminal. See, at first I was gonna just be like, maybe he's just some poor guy who like just figured out, oh, there's clinic up the street pays me to just go and drop off.
No,
some
he went
sperm.
to Denmark
No.
specifically
He
for this, to
specifically
breed.
got told to stop and then went somewhere else to continue this bullshit. I think he has a complex, but I think this also then leads to like all over the world there is men that are very religious dudes of all different religions that think it's okay to father hundreds of kids. So this is happening all over the world. This is
Right.
really one of those situations where it's like, you guys are really tripping.
Well, it's
with
kind of
this
like the
whole,
modern
spreading your
Western way
seed
of doing
shit.
it, right? The sperm clinic, right?
Yeah, but it's ultimately goes down to that whole like man thinks he needs to spread his loin or bullshit. Like fucking go to jail. Shut up. No, like if you can't, no. Because if you're gonna go that far, if you're gonna spread your seed and go that far, then go as far as you got to take care of all them kids.
You do. 600
So
kids.
cool. If you want to have 1,900 children, you're paying 1,900.
Well, like Elon Musk
School
has
fees,
9
you're-
children, right? But he can afford 9 kids. Like
Yup.
Nick Cannon's got what? How many? 47,
Yup,
80
and
kids?
all
I
them
don't know.
kids probably got bread in the bank and tuitions laid to the side and college plans and homes already in their names and all that other shit.
So Jonathan Meyer needs more money, is what we're saying.
He needs a whooping, honestly. And then actually it's really sad. So I know we're kikiing about this, but I actually feel really, really sad for all of the women that find out later on that like every kid at their preschool has the same baby daddy as them.
Speaking of people who all have the same baby daddy, so it's the coronation of the king today.
Who is that?
King Charles.
Nah, the only coronation of the kings I know is Haile Selassie, the king of kings and a lot of lots. Not for real though. What? Oh, dude, Charles?
King Charles.
Bruh. He looks like Biden.
Does he? He's younger than Biden. He's like 8 years younger than Biden.
They look alike.
Biden's 8 years older than King Charles, and King Charles looks like
There's no way.
close to like almost going.
This is ridiculous. We need young people in these places. Okay, so what happened?
So King Charles was coronated. He got the crown, and then
What does that mean? He's the king now?
well, he was already the king after the Queen dies. And I know this because I work for a British news company.
Yes.
So
And you're a royal.
that I
Can you say this whole thing in a British accent?
All right, so King Charles basically all right, so when the Queen died, all right, the king basically he didn't get the crown yet, but he became king, right?
Why?
I don't know, fucking just anyway. Yeah, so King Charles, does this era of having a male king instead of Queen Elizabeth mean something to anyone, or no?
Honestly, get all the motherfuckers out of here. Listen. I don't fuck with none of that. You know what I'm saying? All y'all ain't shit, for real. And dismantle that whole thing. Give all them countries back all they shit. Matter of fact, empty out the museums. Like Tomb Raiders, we need to be museum raiders.
So when I went to London,
What?
I went to their natural history museum, and they have
I'm
the
never
wall.
allowed back in London.
They have the wall of Persepolis. They have like all of these
No,
artifacts
give
from
us
all of
our
these
shit
cultures.
back. Give us our shit back.
And it's
Give
all
us our
stolen.
shit
It's
back.
all stolen.
Give us our shit back. Give us our shit back. Give us our shit back.
Like King Charles' crown, the main centerpiece of his crown is called the
Noor.
Noor.
Bruh, thief. Originally Iranian, then went to India.
Yeah. Well, it's originally
Thieves.
from
no,
India.
hold
and, yeah.
on. I want, like Tupac said, I'm back for everything they owe. It's all ours. It's all ours. Give it back. Matter of fact, give it back. You want to change the world, heal the world. Nah, fuck that. Change the world, make it a better place. Give us our shit back.
So when will
I
you
think
be
that
hanging out
will
with Charles?
start-
When will that be?
Honestly, if he invites me for the coronation party to do
Are
a
you
blunt
gonna roll
bar, I'm
blunts
there.
for King Charles?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Don't leave me hanging.
I
I'll do
gotcha.
it.
Do it.
However, get him the fuck out of here.
All right, Renegade. I think we're done here. Wrap
like
up the show.
Apollo. Wrap up the show. Okay, listen. This here could. We not on none of that weirdo oppression shit. None of that bureaucratic bullshit. Okay. This is real renegade life. This is the dolo solo get it out the mud life.
I'm here for
you
the
hear me?
bureaucrats. Just
I'm not. I'm here for the dolos. I rose dolo from state to states, okay? I'm here for that. I'm here for the people that say, you can't tell me nothing because I know what's good. I know what's righteous, and I know what's going on around here. So to wrap it all up, ladies, tits up. Don't let these boys tell you nothing. You hear me? We know what's going on here. And to the oppressed of the world, you know who they get their sauce from. You know where they get the sauce from. So when we let the kids come on the basketball court and we let them shoot their little three, we know they're kids. We know they can't really hoop. So ultimately, the ones that have the power keep the power, and the children trying to thief the power, we'll let them play. That's it. So we know what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? Subscribe. Share this shit with your friends.
Join
Me in
the
America.
Ranagade Army.
Yeah. Brought to you by Shine and Jam. For the best
Powered by
curls.
Shine and Jam.
Yeah, exactly. You know what
And
I'm
your
saying?
hair is looking fantastic today.
So is yours.
I gotta say,
You
we got
are,
the curl.
Ooh, you got the little Puerto Rican Jerry curl in the front. Doing good. I love you. We're brothers. We're happy and we're singing and we're colored.
Persian. Colored. Okay.
Give me a high five.
Cut and print.
Cut and print, Bossa. We're out.